Hi, and welcome to another episode of Bittersweet Love Talk Show. What happens when the person you love just disappears from your life with little, no explanation or bogus explanations as to why they did this? These are some of the questions that we will be posing to our guest today on set. And kindly help me welcome our guest. Hi.
Hi,
Please introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
okay. Roslyn Nelima. A teacher by profession. I teach German and English.
Aha.
Yeah, I
So,
teach in a high school somewhere in Western.
so you can do a German show.
Yeah, we can. Why not?
So why, how do you say hello in German?
Hello.
Just like that?
Yeah.
It's just English.
Yeah, the difference would come in say good morning.
So what is good morning in German?
Guten Morgen.
Guten Morgen, our viewers. So you have gone through experiences with
Quite a
your
number, I would say.
with your love life, and today you're here with us to share one or two of these experiences.
Gladly, yeah.
We would like to hear and get to learn from you and what experiences you've gone through. So just before we embark on the show and allow you to narrate your experiences, we would like just to explain the glasses in front of us. As a tradition in this show, you will get to understand that these two glasses are a symbol of how you feel after your experience. So when you come into this show, it's either you have healed or you're hurting. So we would like to know where you stand currently before you start your narration.
So I have to take a glass to represent.
You have to pick one glass to show us where you are emotionally.
I'll go with mango.
Okay. That smile, it's like you're not you're not so sure about what you picked.
I think I am.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but the fact that I'm using thinking,
Uh-huh.
I'm sure I would know by the end of this session. I will know if I am at 100% healed or I'm still hovering somewhere less than 100.
But again, isn't it sweet and a beautiful thing to test uh, healing?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Healing is. I mean, it's what every one of us wishes for themselves. I mean, healing of your soul, healing of your body. I mean, if you're just in perfect health, that is, I think, one of the best places you can ever be.
So, what would you say is this thing or this story that you're healing from? Would you mind telling us what happened?
Um, so, okay, as of course, I have had quite a few relationships here and there. Um, some very sweet, some sweet with a sad ending. So there's this guy I had known for quite some time. We had actually been friends for a very, very long time, over 10 years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, then it happens we can get from the friend zone to get something to become something more. And yeah, we thought about it and we thought it's not a bad idea. So yeah, we decide and we are dating. We were doing well. I wouldn't complain. Everything was going on well until one day things just changed. You know, those things that you never saw coming, that's what happened. Like we had talked so well on Friday, and then on Saturday I had gone to visit a friend, and when I got there, I realized we hadn't talked the whole day. So I decided to call. Now he didn't pick my call. I thought it was quite unusual, Fine. I assumed maybe he's held up or something, so I expected him to call back, which didn't happen. So after quite a number of hours, must be at night, I was like, now I haven't received a call back. I haven't received a message, so I decided to text and say, "Hey, are you fine?" Which was not responded to. So that is, they say every woman has a like a sixth sense, and I think my sixth sense was at work at that point. So I just thought something must be wrong. Um, the day just went like that. Then Sunday comes, and I go back to my place, and we are still not talking until he calls someday, or he talks maybe on Monday, and he starts explaining how he messed up and he was sorry. And but I think I was so I really loved him at that point that I didn't even make a big deal of it.
Let me ask, how long had you guys been on the friend zone level, and how long had you guys dated before things changed?
We had been friends for I think 12 years.
12 years?
Yeah, 11, 12.
12 whole years.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then how
Then
long did you guys date?
by that drama time, it
Yes.
was about 5 months.
5 months.
Yeah.
Wow. And then what are these things that you realized started changing immediately you guys started dating?
Nothing really did. We just now maybe our conversation changed because now we would talk as girlfriend and boyfriend, not just the neutral conversations and so on. But for most of the things, I mean, everything just remained. Only on a higher level things would get, and I would say we were doing well. Also, I thought we were doing well until the same communication that was so good, became bad in a twinkling of an eye.
All right. Did you think, or would it be safe to say that maybe he was going through something? Men have a way of sorting out their issues. Sometimes when you're pressed to the wall with different things, not necessarily the relationship we are in, we tend to retreat and work out our stuff before we come back. Don't you think you could have reacted very fast to issues, and you didn't give him time to just work out whatever was happening?
Okay, yeah, I would say I might have been guilty, yeah? Guilty of maybe coming up to such a conclusion or an imagination. But then I would also want to give myself some credit. I tried asking, like, what is happening? Are you fine? But the response I'm given is, yeah, I'm okay, I'm good. And I think I was also working from the point of fear of the unknown. Like, this is not the first relationship you're in, and this will not probably be the first time that someone would just go cold and change, and that would be the end of it. So I'm looking at it, and I'm actually walking back to history,
Okay.
and I'm asking myself, this is not the first time I'm seeing something like this. And I guess that might have been the reason why, or might have prompted me
Yeah.
to go ahead and start making such conclusions.
You just mentioned that this guy messed up. Would you kindly expound on this mess up?
Yeah, he said in his own words,
Uh-huh.
that he hooked up with a lady, and he was drunk, and he hooked up with a lady, and I guess one thing led to another. That's just how he said it.
Yeah, but again, he used the word hooked up. You know what hooking up means? Most of the time, this means it's a one-time thing. The guy said he was drunk and he hooked up with someone. Didn't you ever thought that this was just a slip, that this guy just made a mistake, and you needed maybe to help him get over his mistake?
I did think I actually thought it was just asleep.
Mhm.
I thought it was a mistake, and that is why I didn't make an issue out of it.
Mhm.
Actually, I didn't. I was so easy with it until I didn't even believe that was coming from me, because I was like, okay, if it was asleep, then I think any one of us can. What is important is, what are you planning to do from here? Like, is it, will you sleep again? Or is it something you regret? Fine, you regret. But what are we doing about it? Is it something you regret? No, I don't. So where do we go from here?
So tell me, what happened to your relationship thereafter?
Thereafter, we decided to just uh, give ourselves another chance and still have the relationship. But okay, he came, he visited me at some point, but when he came, I just realized there was something off. I tend to be so observant and analytical. Maybe it's not a good thing, maybe it's a good thing, I don't know. But I just realized he was so distant, so distant. But I survived with it, because I was like, I don't need to make conclusions as early as now. I don't really need to read into everything. So I decided, distant he looks, but just maybe he's going through some issue. But from that point, I wouldn't say we. I mean, there was just a missing link somewhere. And it is that same month where he came and he was so distant that we actually broke up.
How does it feel to love someone and then out of the blue, someone just goes quiet?
It's it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because, number one, you would want to talk to them, but they are not reachable.
Okay.
Number two, um, you're also trying to protect your ego. You understand? You don't want to look so desperate for them.
Yeah.
Yet deep down, what you want is just to talk to them and,
Okay.
and just maybe even have a closure, yeah? Because you can't force someone to be where they don't want to be. So you just want to end things in maybe a civilized manner and have each one of you
Yes.
moving on. But then someone does not want to talk to you. Someone does not want to commit. Someone does not want to pick calls. I mean, it's dodging after dodging and dodging after dodging. It's so frustrating to realize that you're so helpless. There's nothing you can do about it. And at that point, your heart is involved in the whole affair. You're not talking about a situation where you are here and your heart is here. They're actually connected. So your heart is actually also suffering the same torture. And it is so bad when your heart is suffering, because we know there's no painkiller for that.
They say it takes two to tango in a relationship. Um, don't you think, as a partner, as a player in the relationship, you have stakes, you have a part that you really play in that relationship, and when things are not working out, you have your equal share of responsibility and blame. In this case, what would you say was your share of responsibility or blame?
Now, that's a nice question. I wouldn't say I don't have a part to blame here. I'm sure there has to be maybe somewhere I didn't do well, or, but I would be lying if I say that I've actually been thinking about it and I really know what it was. The more reason I had really wanted for us to just have a conversation so that I understand what is it that I did. You understand? What is it that you didn't like? Just having a conversation with someone to understand your point. Because for as long as you are your own judge, it takes a very special eye for you to admit your mistakes. You'll always be your number one fan.
Yeah.
You'll always be the one to think that you'll always make yourself the victim.
Yes.
It's only people who offend you. You never
Yes.
offend them.
Yes.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that that I'm not responsible for how it ended, but then I really do not know.
From what you have actually talked about, I think I'm picking one thing: communication breakdown
Yeah.
in your relationship. I would want us to go on a break, but when we come back, I want us to talk about your communication in that relationship. We will be taking a short break. When we are back, we will be discussing issues of communication in relationships. Before we went on a break, Rosie, we were discussing about communication breakdown. Would you say this was the breaking point in your relationship?
Yeah, I would confidently say so, because we stopped talking. We stopped talking, and for whatever reasons, like I wouldn't want to now start doing the blame games, blaming him, blaming whoever. But bottom line is, we stopped talking. We're not talking as much. Even the relationship ending, we didn't communicate it. I just had to make my own conclusions, and that was just it.
Wait, so what you mean is this guy just went MIA
Yeah,
and that's it?
yeah, missing in action.
So he didn't call it quits?
No, he didn't call it quits. So he can even stand in any court and say, I never ended it with her.
So he can still claim you
I think so.
and say you're still the girlfriend?
Yeah, because we never ended it.
Why
We
did
never
this leave
quit.
you?
Okay, like what was the next option to do? I couldn't sit there and brood and do whatever. So I had to accept and move on, which I have to say is not an easy thing. I'm sure you've been there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a walk in the park. And the best thing all the love doctors will tell you is that time. So you have to wait for the magic of time. And yeah, time moved. As much as the healing was slow, but I had to, I had to move. So I got someone, and yeah, we started dating for some time. Then I think, at that point, I'm telling myself that I am really moving on with my life. I'm doing so well. I am so healed. I am so fine. So I am with this guy, and then we are going on. Then, unbelievably, after some time now, this guy comes back.
The one who now left you without
a word.
Okay.
Without a word. He comes back with quite some explanation. Quite some explanation of how it happened, blaming it on every other factors. And, he was a victim. Like I said, anyone telling their part of the story will always be the victim.
So he was a victim of what?
Of some other lady in his life, and how it was getting complicated, and how, I don't know what, he had to make some choices somewhere which he regrets, and he's pursued so much in life. He's looked for money, he's getting better in his career and so on, but he just realizes that he's not happy.
Basically, him not having said a word when he was leaving you was like his insurance. Like,
come to think of it, yes.
I can always come back and I will find Rosie where I left her.
Yeah, and I think he was taking advantage of the fact that he knew I loved him. So I'm sure, I'm just thinking, he must have thought that if he came back with just the right words, I mean, he would still find me. So, and I wouldn't say that he was so mistaken. Because, sometimes you think you're so well. Sometimes, the problem with sweeping, like hiding dirt under the carpet, is that someday you'll have to get it out of there. So what I did with that love was just to hide it under some carpet.
So hold up.
Yeah.
You mean after all this time, and after you thinking or assuming that you had healed, the fact of the matter was that you still love this guy?
Yeah, I still did. I still loved him. I was just trying to act that I've moved on, I was just trying to be dishonest to myself, because I just couldn't move on. Like, it took me some time. It really took time, and I don't know. I think it's just a process that has to happen with time. I hope someone relates to this. So when he comes back and he says what he says the first time, and he's so remorseful and he's so whatever, now you now realize that, oh, okay, so I'm still at the same place I was. So it doesn't sound so hard taking him back. I don't know if you understand.
It's a bit confusing, maybe even to the viewers. But how did you manage to work this out? Because here is a person who left you without saying a word, and here is someone that you have learned to fall in love with, as much as you're still in love with the other person, but you have them under the rugs.
Yeah.
And now everyone is coming back to the picture. What happened? And how did you handle this?
Now, again, with him coming back, he didn't get a red carpet welcome. So it is not something that I didn't take him back and go like, yeah, let's pick it from here. It had to take some time. And now in that taking some time, in this period that he's still somewhere in the shadows with this other guy, now the relationship does not end well again. Now at this point, I don't know. I think it's just my confusion that is just messing up this whole thing. So my relationship with this other guy finally ends. And I'm at the point where I am single.
Did these two guys ever meet?
Like thinking that, like meeting, how? What do you
Like,
mean?
did they ever get to know each other?
Yes, they did.
How?
They are friends.
All right.
Now, this is where the confusion comes in. When I am with this other guy, I am not aware they are friends with my ex at that point. I didn't have that information. So after we are done with him and he's gone, now this one who goes MIA, of course he has a habit of coming back. So he's coming back, and he's coming back so determined, and he's like, this time round we have to put, like a wrap to this. We have to finish this one once and for all, so that we know if me and you ever stand a chance, or we just say like it's one of those times we tried but we couldn't work. So he comes back when I am single now. I don't have this other guy again. So when I'm with him someday, now as fate would play it, we are seated and we are having a conversation and we are talking. This other guy calls. So let me call my ex who comes back and disappears, guy A. So guy B is the other one that I dated after him.
Okay.
So guy A comes and guy B calls him. Now, coincidence is what I would say. I'm not in the habit of checking who calls who. So if I had your phone here, say like this one here, and someone called you and you asked me to pass your phone, usually I just do it. But that day, I don't know. I just looked and passed it. Then I realized it's guy B that is calling guy A. So I decide, okay, they have their conversation. Now I don't know how to conceal my surprise. Like if you know me, if you're my friend, if you know me, you would know when there's something in my mind. I don't know how to conceal that one. So he was so sure when I looked, after he had finished his conversation, I looked at him and I asked him, so you know guy B? And he said, yes. Okay. So he insists, so what is the story? I tell him there's no story. He insists, what is the story? So at that point, I try defending myself, there's no story. But then he realizes there is. The more reason he persists. And then, of course, I fell for it and decided to give him the story, albeit in the most simplified or summarized ways.
Okay.
I just told him, this guy B, you're saying he is your friend. And they're very close, by the way. They're even business partners or something.
Okay.
So I told him, I think I had a thing with him like some years back. That would be like 3 years back or something. So he's so surprised. Of course, I'm surprised also that these people are this close. And I didn't know about that one. So he's equally surprised because how do you expect that one? That one is living, they're living on two separate worlds, yeah? Like this one is, they're not even sharing a profession. They're not sharing a town. How did they meet? So you would never guess in your wildest imaginations that these two people know each other.
Okay.
So he's so confused, but he's trying to play cool. I think he survived for that day. He played it cool. The following day, he played it cool. The third day, he played it cool. Then the fourth day, I think he played coolest because we didn't talk on phone, no conversation, no WhatsApp, no SMS, no phone call. I go like, okay, I don't want to be like I'm nagging. I always have this fear of nagging. I always try to avoid asking someone something or like initiating a conversation or really making phone calls because I have this fear of being called a nag. I think it's high time I just accepted that maybe nagging is not really nagging. It's just someone trying to have a conversation.
Yeah.
So eventually I fall for it and I try to call him. So I call and my calls are going unanswered. I text, my texts are going unanswered. I tried for some time. Then I told myself, what is it? What am I trying? Now I want you to remember that my mind is going back to like it's not the first time it's happening. So I still have now like overthinking now makes everything makes so much sense. So I'm going back to history and I'm like, the last time this happened, this is how it started. So I'm asking myself, all this silence, all these, all these things, and it's exhausting, it's frustrating, it's making my mind tired. And I want to really know what is happening because I don't want to hold on to something that is not there. And this is the same guy that has gone MIA like 1-2 times before. So why would he not go MIA the third time? So this time around, I try to, after trying to really reach out to him, I tell myself, oh, okay, let it be. Once again, let it just be. Only that this time around, I don't think there's a next time. So I eventually fell for the temptation of writing him a text. So I wrote him again and told him, I hope this is the last time you're ever coming back. Yeah, that is the point where he wrote me a very bad message, which I have to say hurt me. And I think it still hurts sometimes. But yeah, I have to move. So what was the message saying? I didn't tell you to date my friend. And I didn't know that when I called you. So what I've been trying is I've been trying to battle to see how I'll get over it. But now with your message, you just made it simpler. So what does that mean? Remember, I didn't know he was his friend. I was at a point where I really did not know. And at that point, when I was dating this guy, we were actually not in communication. We were not even talking. So how am I to be blamed for what I did like 3 years ago?
Would you say that he felt betrayed for the fact that you fell for someone that was close to him?
I would say so.
When we come back, we'll be hearing more of this from our guest. But I just want to pose this question to our audience. Do you think the guy was justified to feel betrayed? Do you think the guy has any reasonable issue to pick with Rosie after going away from her life for too long? I'd like to leave this with you as we take a break, but when you come back, we'll be delving more into these issues. Welcome back to Bittersweet Love Talk Show. So, Rosie, here you are in between two guys, and these guys must be very fine guys.
Definitely.
Yeah, for you to have given them a chance because you're a fine lady.
Thank you.
So you are between two guys who want you at the same time. Did these guys ever have a confrontation?
Now, just a point of clarification.
Yes.
They didn't have me at the same time. Everyone had their time. Yeah. It's the next one would only get a chance if the other one was not there.
Okay.
You understand? And it starts with guy A, guy B, then guy A comes back. So that means there's no single time that I dated both of them at the same time. But then again, I'm just thinking if I really dated both of them at the same time, I don't think they would ever have a confrontation. You know, you guys, men are quite different from ladies. There's how you people solve your issues and there's how we solve our issues. And then looking at the type of men they were with their pride almost touching the skies, They would never do that. I don't think so.
Don't you think the two of them might have agreed to do this to you?
Now, that one is food for thought. Where would it leave me?
If you happen to realize that this is what these guys had planned all along, maybe it was just guy A using guy B to hit on you so that guy A would know if you're still single or if you're still in love with him. But then guy B came on and realized,
I'm game.
I'm game. So I can get whatever I want from this as long as I have the time to. And then somehow guy A realized guy B is taking too long to actually perform his assignments. And then he came back realizing that he's losing. Where would that leave you if you ever realize that this is the case?
First of all,
Yeah.
it would be, that can be some manuscript or of some telenovela. I mean, I would never imagine in a million years that I would find myself in such a place. But now just hypothetically that it has happened. Number one, I would be at this point where I will not even feel hurt about say guy A, because guy B, it's been quite a while since we ended it with him. Now guy A, I wouldn't even feel like, I wouldn't feel the pain of love. I would actually feel the pain of betrayal, because I wouldn't imagine him to do such a thing. My tears, if I'm to shed any tear, it would be for a very different reason.
What would that reason be?
The reason would be the point where I was taken for a fool. I tend to think highly of myself. I have quite some things I tell myself. I have an opinion of myself. Now, if he tried doing that, or if someone tried doing that, they would be stepping on some part of my ego, and I don't think that would go so well with me.
Do you think you're a fool being in between these two guys?
No. I don't think I am. Because I did not have the knowledge of the relationship between these two guys.
Would you say that the two guys are still friends?
Yeah.
And you know that for a fact?
Positive. They are friends because they are business partners. One of them works outside the country, another one is in the country. Now, the one who is in the country takes business, does business transactions or business operations for this one who lives outside the country.
Okay.
So there's no way they're going to end their friendship because of this. So I would bet on my life that these two are still friends.
And so you would say their friendship was greater than what you shared with both of them?
Sadly, yes.
And this doesn't affect you?
It's quite sad. It's painful, yeah. When you think you actually have a place in someone's life, when in reality they can easily trade you for something else. You know, you would want each one of us, we walk with some words on our foreheads which say, make me feel important, yeah? Even the poorest person on earth wants to be made to feel important. So I would really want to believe myself that I have some importance in this person's life, that I have some standing in their life. But if they can easily sacrifice me for something else, then, you know, that leaves me with the knowledge that I wasn't that important. And of course, it would hurt. Yeah.
So would you say in simple words that you were played?
Nice one. No.
Why are you so certain?
Because
These guys are still friends. Good friends. Good business partners. And you dated both the guys. At two different times. Let's make that clear.
Yeah.
2 different times.
Yeah.
But then you come and realize that the two guys know each other. They do business together.
Yeah.
And you realize this when you're with guy A and guy B calls. Yeah? And then you end things, guy A ends things with you, and you end things with guy B. Is that the case?
No, guy
Or
B
guy
is,
B?
is gone, long gone.
Yeah, but how did it end with guy B?
It was just on something independent. It had nothing to do with guy A.
All right, so him realizing that guy A knows and guy A realizing that guy B knows.
Guy B, in my knowledge, does not know that me
Oh.
and guy A had a thing. It's only guy A who knows that me and guy B had a thing. Now, in my knowledge,
In your knowledge.
from the end, maybe each one of them was aware of everyone's part of the calendar. I don't know.
Reason why I'm asking you this is because guys talk.
Yeah, definitely.
And if I'm doing business with you, then I will tell you I am seeing this woman.
What
That-
if we work with the imagination that they don't mix business with pleasure?
That is something we can actually talk about. But again, I'll tell you this for free. How men are wired is so simple. I'm dating you, I will talk about you. If I'm serious about you, I'll talk about you. I will tell my friends about everything about you. One, because I do not want anyone to get to that.
You're marking your territory.
Yes. Now, this could probably have happened. And that is the reason why I'm asking you, do you feel you were played? Just say yes or no.
No. I really don't know.
Yes.
But I would have a strong conviction.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm at the point of denial. Maybe I'm saying no because I don't want to actually accept that is what happened. Because I mean, it would be so painful to know that.
Yeah, but don't you think at this point that you are in the healing process? We all go through these things in relationships. We go through heartbreaks and disappointments. But that does not mean that we stop loving. That does not mean that we stop seeking for
Absolutely.
love.
Yeah.
You want to be able to pick your lessons from here and move on. Would you ever want to know if that was the case between these two guys?
Yeah. Honestly, I would. I would really want to know if each one of them actually was aware of the other's part of my life. You understand? I would really love to understand if this guy A knew about guy B and me, and if guy B knew about guy A and me. I would really love to understand. I would really love to, just for my own consumption, just so that I'm at peace with it, that I didn't trust the wrong people. Because, some of us are wired in the sense that we are either in a relationship or we are not.
Yeah.
We don't do gray areas. It's either black or white. So if I'm getting in a relationship, then I'm getting there with my love and with my trust. So if I really had a thing with these two people, then I must have trusted them at some point. So I would really love to just know, to have that part clarified for my own good.
What is your current relationship status?
Single.
And searching, or single and happy,
Um,
or single and hurting?
no, I'm not single and not hurting.
Yeah.
Single and being sought. I would love to be sought. I'm not sure I know how to search. I still want the man to be the hunter they were created to be.
Okay.
So I would still give someone a chance at hunting me down.
Tell me something. With these relationships, what would you say were your weakest points?
Over time,
Yes.
the person I've said I don't have gray areas. So I either love you or not. I think they've always known I love them. And, it's not something I've been struggling to hide because I love you. I mean, that is why we're in this relationship to begin with. So my greatest point, my weakest point, or the greatest mistake I did over time was to just show someone how much I love them. And I think they took advantage of that because they knew with this love, I mean, they can always toy around the idea.
All right. So tell me, do you think you are the problem in your relationships, or do you think it's the men that you date?
I think I have my part of the problem because it takes two to tango.
Okay.
So that means that in a relationship that thrives, it takes the two of them.
Okay.
In a relationship that fails, it takes the two of them. Sometimes I am a bad communicator, especially when I feel I'm tired. I don't really come and ask. I say what I think.
Are you afraid that this is going to be a pattern in your life with the men coming in and going out and you not getting any value out of the relationship?
Sometimes I think so. Sometimes I think so. Then I tell myself, let me just sit. And so I can stay for a long time without someone because I'm tired of having to start over and over and over. The same pattern is so annoying.
The relationships you've been in, is there any that brought you happiness that you would say really got to a point where you thought this one is working out?
Yes. When I started, I said I've had some very good relationships and maybe with some sad endings. But it doesn't mean that the relationship from day one to day last has been chaos. It has been awesome. Yeah. Like the same guy I'm talking about, there are times he's made me very happy.
Okay.
Yeah, there were times I was so happy with him. I actually thought he's actually the first man who ever proposed to me.
That's interesting. What
Yeah.
happened to the proposal?
I was 22.
So you said no?
I told him to give me time, but I don't know. He didn't give me time. He moved on.
Let's hold on to that thought. We will be right back after the break. Welcome back. Let's talk about the proposal.
So he did propose, but as I've said, I felt I was too young. I was still young. I mean, by 22, I didn't feel I had the emotional muscle to handle a marriage and all that it comes with. So I actually turned it down. But he was in quite some hurry. So he went ahead, he got married, and he never stopped mentioning to me that I should be the one he was marrying. I even remember when he was getting married, he showed me his wedding card and he told me, hey, your name should be here. That was about a week or 2 weeks to the wedding. And I just got surprised and I thought, is this guy really sure about what he's doing? But he went ahead anyway. The long short of it is that he got married, but his marriage didn't work out.
Would you say was the greatest undoing in your relationship life, like for the rest of the time that you've been in relationships?
At least for the first time, I'm saying it in front of the camera, but my friends know this is one thing I did that I've always regretted for a very long time. I've actually always regretted it. I keep on saying sometimes, especially now, I even say that I used to be dated by serious people when I was still very young. And now that I am ready for the marriage, I'm just getting jokers,
Clowns.
comedians, clowns passing my way. So I tend to feel that if I had agreed
Taken
to
the
it
opportunity.
at that time, then I wouldn't have gone through all this trouble that I've had to go through in all this time. And probably, maybe someone's son would not just have separated with his wife. And
How did it feel reading their marriage invitation card, knowing that this is a guy who proposed to you and it's your name that would have been on that invitation card, and now it's someone else on the invitation card?
disappointed, hurt. I kept telling myself, you should have waited a little. I mean, that is the only thing I kept saying. I was only saying it's too early. My only excuse was time. So if really he had waited, so it felt some type of way. It felt I was actually in Nairobi when he got married in Nairobi. I was in Nairobi, but I didn't attend his wedding. Yeah.
You didn't attend the wedding because it was too much for you, or?
Yeah, I just didn't want to witness it, and so I opted to go for a friend's bridal shower. Yeah, there was his wedding and there was my friend's bridal shower,
Okay.
of which I would have attended his wedding if, but I decided to go to the shower.
Because you don't want
I didn't want to witness it.
What do you think would be his explanation as to why he keeps behaving the same way, time and again?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not because I really don't know, but just because I don't want to admit.
Is it because you keep giving him too many chances
Yeah.
to come and mess you up?
Yeah. Just
But
maybe.
how does your path keep on crossing every now and then?
Because I still keep the same phone number. Because he can still reach me when he feels like he's ready to meet me.
What are the lessons you have learned from these experiences? And what would you like to tell ladies who are going through the same, or who have not yet gotten into relationships but would want to be in a relationship? What would you tell to a person who has been proposed to?
Before I get to my advice, I would first of all come to the point of what it is that I have learned out of this whole experience. I am looking at myself and I'm thinking, who comes, the one person that will never leave you, the one person that will never change their mind about you is you yourself. So I have learned to just love myself, to just appreciate myself, to put myself top on the list, because after all, the Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So I can only love you if I love myself with equal measure. So out of these experiences, I have learned to just love myself and love myself and love myself. Now, what I would say to anyone listening to me out there, someone who's been in relationships, failed, someone who is yet to get into one, someone who is thinking about it, just understand yourself, love yourself, and listen to that voice that speaks in your mind. There's always something telling you something. So I would say learn to listen to that voice that's speaking in your mind and just believe yourself and know what you want.
Wow, it's been a great engagement with you. And I want to say thank you very much for allowing us to have this sitting with you and sharing your life story, actually your love story. And we hope that this will be able to inspire someone else, to be able to educate, because the reason why we do this is to be able to show people that there are more than one person who are going through an experience that could be similar to what they are going through, and be able to actually show them that you can still get out of whatever situation you're in. So thank you very much for sharing your story, and we really appreciate, and we hope that one of these days we will have you back here with a success story, with a man that now loves you and a man that has proposed to you, and we will be able to actually even attend your wedding.
Wow. I love that statement. I love the last statements.
Yes.
Thank you also for having me here.
Yes.
I know there are 1,000,001 ladies out there with stories, and some worse, some better, some whatever. But that I'm here today, it's such an honor.
All right.
Thank you very much for having me here. It's been a good moment.
So, our tradition, where do you stand now?
I still maintain.
You're still
mango.
A mango person?
Yeah.
All right. There you have it, our viewers. They say love is a beautiful thing, but the same love, they say, is not a bed of roses. We go through experiences, we go through challenges in our pursuit to find love. But most importantly is how we handle the people we are in these relationships with. Until next time, this is your host, Alton Njumba, and this is Bittersweet Love Talk Show.